Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm really proud to be here and to speak about artificial intelligence. And let's say, in this last year, everyone started to speak about artificial intelligence, but my story inside this technology is very long. I started to train my first artificial intelligence model in 95. And in 2001, I created my first startup in artificial intelligence. Then, let's say, I grew up, all of my career inside this field of artificial intelligence. And now that we started to see a lot of momentum, for me, it's very, very interesting because, let's say, it's like all the plan, the dream that we have in the past, now we started to see a real impact. And today, I wanted to speak with you about the market, the different signal that we have from the market, and not only my, and the vision that I have the future for the next year, and how we can leverage on this technology and on this opportunity. And, in this moment, everyone is speaking about artificial intelligence. Is a kind of magic. This technology transforms completely our life. Everyone is using technology like ChatGPT, like Anthropic, like Perplexity, and this is creating a real change in our way to work. But there is a problem. There is a question, okay? And the question is, as an entrepreneur, as a business, as a startup, how we can compete, how we can have a piece of this multi-billion-dollar economy without having money, without having the ability to create a big data center, without having the ability to have scientists that are working for us. Because if you are listening all the different news, all these news are huge news. OpenAI that is investing $100 billion in data center. We are a startup. Also, only $1 million for us sometimes is too much. And this economy, is running on completely different number. There is a space for us or not? This is the question that I want to try to solve, to answer together today. And first of all, a lot of people is speaking about artificial intelligence bubble, And personally, I don't believe that artificial intelligence is a bubble. I don't believe that is a bubble because there is a strong adoption, and we will see some number later. Change completely our way to work. And there is a complete ecosystem. There is an ecosystem that is growing every day. And we start to leverage on this technology also for our personal life. I read the last OpenAI reports, and 36% of people are using ChatGPT like a friend. Imagine how powerful is this technology. It's changed completely our life. Now it's like our best friend. It's caring, but again, is a data point. Okay, if we enter better in this number, this graph is impressive. This graph, there is a, okay, you see the red line is the adoption rate of internet. Internet, in order to arrive about an adoption rate of 70%, need about 23 years. In only 3 years, artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence, reach, okay, 7%. And in next year, will surpass, okay, the internet adoption. That is quite crazy. Okay, and this and all the other curve are a lot of very popular, for example, social media, TikTok, and so on. Only from this, you are understanding that artificial intelligence is not a bubble. Why? Because everyone like telling that internet is a bubble. We are not able to live without internet. We arrived here yesterday for this conference, and my first, let's say, problem to solve was I need data, I need internet. My life without internet is not anymore possible. And now, okay, there is not only internet, but there is also artificial intelligence. And this is another impressive picture, because it's demonstrating this first part, how smart this technology is becoming. In only few years, okay, we have this curve. And this is how much this technology, okay, how much this technology is becoming smart. And here we see the same data, okay, versus the human level. The last version of artificial intelligence start to be comparable to humans. And this test, that is the multi-modal language unit test, is a benchmark that is based on general knowledge. Is a different thousand of general culture question. And now, okay, an artificial intelligence is able to benchmark like a human, like a super expert human. Okay, this is massive. And if we think about the first speeching about, from Esther, is a huge reservoir of knowledge. Here we have all the answer to all our questions. There is no any more value in the answer. Why? Well, we have a machine that are able to answer to all the questions that we have. Then we arrive to another dimension. We are reading on the newspaper that the big corporation, especially Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta, they are making multi-billion-dollar investment in data center. And again, these companies are the companies that are managing all our data. They are not investing, let's say, without a strategy. And, okay, only this year, they invest about $400 billion. $400 billion in only the infrastructure. We are not speaking about the investment from Anthropic, OpenAI. We are only speaking about the investment on the infrastructure. Only this investment, okay, are way bigger than the economy of Colombia. Okay, only these 4 companies invest in 1 year more money, okay, than the total economy of Colombia. And there is an interesting, let's say, data. In order to return of this investment, they needed to have a revenue, a new extra revenue of $650 billion in 2030. Okay, this number is incredible big. And a lot of people think that is not doable. But if you do some math, okay, this company in average are growing about 11% per year. If you do some math, in, let's say, 2030, they will return all their investment. Now, you understand that only the infrastructure part, only this little part of the artificial intelligence economy is moving, okay, is moving incredible number of money. And for this reason, okay, this is not a bubble. But these are all the signals that, in my opinion, is demonstrated that it is not a bubble, but there is other interesting signal that is telling us that the story can be different from the story that the mainstream are telling us. Because the mainstream are telling that, okay, on top of this infrastructure, there is only few players that can generate value. And these few players are OpenAI, are Anthropic, are Gemini, okay? Are this big model that are sitting on top of this infrastructure. Okay, on this part of the story, I don't believe too much. Because, okay, on the infrastructure, the numbers are demonstrating that there is a pretty solid investment and there is a pretty solid return of this investment. But when we arrive to the impact that this technology have on the economy, we start to see different data. And these data are really, in my opinion, relevant because it's giving us the clue of how we can participate to this new economy that is growing. First of all, these are data from this year. Okay, all the companies are interested in artificial intelligence, but only 7% have a fully scaled artificial intelligence production. And in this 7%, there is all the big incumbents. There is Amazon, there is Google, and so on. But when we start to see, okay, how many normal companies are in this 7%, we will discover that are very few. Okay? And digital company and incumbent, they are pretty good in exploiting artificial intelligence. All the other companies, not so much. 31% they are scaling. 30% are piloting. 32% are making experiments. These are the real numbers. Now imagine, for all these companies, there is space to create a better offer. There is a market. We need to understand how to bring a part of this market in our startup. And this is another interesting study. Okay, they study artificial intelligence look like a remote coworker. Good metaphor. Okay, if we see the artificial intelligence like a remote coworker, how much work they can do. And here you have the big player, and at the end of the day, you see that the best performance is 2.5%, over 100. Again, there is a huge, huge, huge empty space. You are reading the article on Bloomberg or New York Post and so on, and artificial intelligence will steal all our work. Okay, it's not true. And there is a lot of room, okay, to create new technology, new startup, new solution, new business model. And last but not least, okay, at the end of the day, we start to see a lot of transactions that at the end of the day are only, okay, circular transaction. And the winner are companies that are producing silicon chip and companies that have a lot of business application. Okay, all these numbers start to tell me an interesting story. Okay, there is a pretty solid investment. There is a pretty huge market, but in this moment, okay, the general approach, okay, is not the right one. It's not the right one. Why? Because of the number. Because at the end of the day, okay, all these companies are trying to create a very general and huge model. When you are interacting with ChatGPT, you can ask from the carbonara receipt to quantum mechanics. Okay, great. I love to have a best friend that can entertain me with a lot of topics. But when I'm working on a very laser-focused problem for my company, I really need all this knowledge? No. Imagine if you are a manufacturing company who care about the carbonara receipt. You need a model that is completely tailor-based on your need. Now, okay, you need not a general model, but a special model. Model that are able to understand your data. Model that you can own. And because you can own this model, you can feed this model with your data. Because one of the big problems with artificial intelligence is that without data, it's nothing. Without data, artificial intelligence is very stupid intelligence. Okay, but when we are inside our company, we don't want to share our data with the big company. Why? Because they will train the model with our data. And now the data are not anymore our data. But in this data, there is the competitive advantage of our company. There is how we are managing the production, how we are managing our experience. And for this reason, okay, the general model will be smart, but not smart enough in order to be very useful for our company. Then, in the moment that we can have our artificial intelligence that is running on our system, now we can train this artificial intelligence with our data. And now we can have an artificial intelligence that is part of our company. And because this new kind of model, we can fill all the gap that we saw in the previous slide. Why these general model are only able to accomplish the 2.5% of remote work? Because they don't have knowledge. They don't have the knowledge about our company. And without that knowledge, it's like having a super brilliant intern. Okay, he's super brilliant, but he's still an intern. He don't know our procedure. He don't know our trade secret. He don't know how we are working. And for this reason, he's only able to accomplish a small number of tasks. And okay, and in the moment that we are starting to shift our mind from large language model, very, very general model, to small language model, very specialized language model, we start to understand that we can participate in this economy. This small specialized model are running on my laptop. I don't need to have investment of $1 billion in order to run this model. I can train this model on my data. And every year, this model are becoming smarter and smarter. There is an interesting data that, sorry, I don't put in this slide, but these data are showing that this small language model is becoming more smart every year. A small language model today is smart as a large language model 1.5 years ago. Okay, this is massive because now we can run this on a single laptop, on a server, and we have the intelligence of ChatGPT of 1.5 years ago. It's not the same intelligence of today, but if we are waiting some months, probably we started to have the same intelligence on a small machine. And again, remember, we don't need all the intelligence of ChatGPT. We need only a portion of this intelligence. And this portion of intelligence can run on our machine, and now we can feed with our data. And now it's becoming the artificial intelligence of our company, of our startup. And at the end of the day, okay, we see this comparison every day. Okay, there is a very powerful car, very expensive, a dream for everyone. But at the end of the day, okay, we are using the small car. Also, if we are able to buy a Ferrari, it's very difficult that we are commuting every day with a Ferrari. We are leveraging all the day on smaller, okay, technology. Technology that are fitting our need. And because are low cost, are efficient. Imagine only, let's say, the problem of the energy required by a large language model. Need not only the investment in the data center, but also all the investment in the infrastructure. And again, especially countries that are still creating the infrastructure, if they are going in this direction, there is no way, there is no room. If we are going in this direction, Now there is a lot of room. There is a lot of opportunity. Also because, say, you have the opportunity to create something global, okay, with a high impact, but leveraging on the special knowledge that you have. For example, in these days, I read some, let's say, article about the Colombian economy. And here, for example, there is a huge knowledge about agriculture. Why, instead of thinking of giving all this knowledge to the big artificial intelligence company, you are not thinking to create some startup that is trapping this knowledge in a small language model, and you start to resell this knowledge at scale? You can convert the tribal knowledge of the agriculture in a new line of revenue that is not anymore, let's say, unscalable, but because it's become digital, now you can scale very fast, like a startup. Remember one of the comments of Greg Bauer: data and knowledge are competitive advantage. And if you learn how to leverage on this new technology, now you can discover that you can have a lot of competitive advantage in order to create a new economy, new opportunity, to have a place in the artificial intelligence community, not like let's say, a buyer or a customer of all these big companies, but like a vendor, to really participate to this economy. And it's interesting because around this vision, there is a lot of study. And this study is one of the studies that I appreciate a lot. It's from the University of Urbana-Champaign, and they demonstrate for the first time that a properly trained small language model is able to overperform a large language model on very specific tasks. Again, if we are a manufacturing company that we are creating water bottle, we don't need ChatGPT. We need a small language model that is able to overperform ChatGPT only in the production of the water bottle. This is our goal. And this is achievable, okay? And the gap is pretty big. On that specific task, okay, a small model that can run on your computer can overperform ChatGPT. It's a kind of magic. And at the end of the day, you can create your model. I don't want to lie. It's not super simple, but it's not rocket science. In this moment, it's full of pre-trained small language model that you can download from internet, are open source. There is a site like Hugging Face or GitHub. You can enter, you can download your small language model. And you can run this model on your computer. There is a system like Olama and other stuff like that, and you can run your small language model with your computer. Step one. Step two, okay, you can start to feed this model with your data. And again, remember, this kind of technology is pretty amazing. They can work with your database, but they can also work with your voice. They can work on your paper. They are able to read your paper. Now you can discover that you have a lot of data, not only on digital format, but also in analog format. You can capture, okay, the discussion with your expert. And now, okay, you can feed all this information on your model. And in the moment that you create this training, now you will have your expert, your personal expert in your field of knowledge. And this, again, is not rocket science. And also the investment that you need is pretty low. And this is the future that we are seeing. In this moment, we are here. Okay, you have a monolithic large language model like OpenAI and so on, and now you start to make all the questions to this monolithic artificial intelligence. In the future, every function will have their artificial intelligence model. It's a completely revolution because we are not anymore in a monolithic approach, but we started to be in a decentralized approach. Okay, and I want to jump at the other slide, and eventually we return back. Then we can create a very sophisticated architecture. Imagine, we will have a lot of artificial intelligence. Each artificial intelligence trained on some very domain-specific topic. Now, okay, you can have orchestrators that are splitting complex questions, asking, okay, to the different expert an answer, and at the end of the day, this architecture will create a more sophisticated answer than the monolithic approach. Again, if you are thinking about how the human society is working, this is how our society is working. We don't have one guy that is the super expert and know everything. When we have a complex problem, okay, we have people that are understanding the problem, and then they're asking to the super expert answer, and they aggregate the answer in a unique answer. Here, we can use the same approach. Instead of training a big model, we can leverage on a lot of different agents trained by normal people, trained by normal company, trained by us. Okay, and this can be a way to participate to the multi-billion-dollar economy that we saw in the first slide. But now, in order to realize this big vision, there is in this moment a bottleneck. Okay, the specialized language models are a reality. We can do right now. What we are not able to achieve right now is the interoperability. Imagine, I'm creating my expert agent about how to create a startup. My agent wants to interact with your agent. How? How is possible? In this moment, there is no technology and there is no protocol in order to enable this communication. And this will be, in my opinion, one of the big battles between the huge corporation and the normal society for the future. Because imagine, if this interoperability will be managed by big corporation, tomorrow we will have the equivalent of Apple Store for our small language model. Okay, you create a valuable model, you want to monetize, you have to pay. I'm Apple, I'm Google, I am Meta. If you want to participate to this economy, you have to pay me because I have the opportunity to manage the interoperability. In this moment, if we are downloading an app from Apple Store, this app is not able to interact with an app that we are downloading from Google Store. And this will be the future. Okay? But this is one of the projects that I'm belonging and I'm, let's say, believing a lot. With MIT, we started to create an open protocol in order to manage the interoperability of this future small language model, of this future agent. Because if we are able to create this protocol, now, okay, every person, every company, every startup can participate to this economy. And this is the Nanda project. And the goal of the Nanda project is creating the protocol for Internet of Agent. What is the protocol of Internet of Agent? In this moment, okay, imagine Internet. Internet is based on protocol. It's based on common protocol. Everyone can access your website because your website is speaking a standard protocol. And in this moment, no one is owning this protocol. If we are able to accomplish our goal with Project Nanda, tomorrow you will be able to access to my agent using this protocol, okay? Because it's a standard. And I can access to all the protocol, all the agents that you will create with the same approach. And you can imagine that are two different kinds of future. One future where everyone can participate to this economy. Everyone can generate their agent, small language model, they can train, they can interact with each other. Or another future that will be a closed garden future where this interoperability will be guaranteed by big corporations. And because they are managing this interoperation, they can, let's say, have some return, and they can control. They can control all the possible different applications. And they can decide, okay, we don't like Greg Bauer, and then the Greg Bauer agent will be not anymore on our store. Okay, you can understand that this is a real, let's say, threat for the future. And this is how we are envision the future. Okay, instead of having only, let's say, here a large language model, we see a world, okay, where everyone can participate to this economy. And this is the world that we want to build. And I think that it's important to start to have this discussion not only inside the technical people, okay, but it's important to have this discussion also with the entrepreneurial society. Because if we are able to achieve this goal on the technical side, there is a huge opportunity for, the startup. There is a huge opportunity for all the country. There is a huge opportunity for all the people. Then it's not anymore a technical goal, but I think that is a social goal. And remember, okay, I wanted to return back very, very quick to one of the initial slide. And in this moment, we are moving at this velocity. Okay, we don't have a lot of time in order to discuss how we are envisioning the future, how we can participate to this economy. Because remember, okay, this is the speed of today. It's not anymore the slow and old internet. We need to start to speak right now, because probably in the next 2 years, all this shift, the market will make all these decisions. And the standard society, and the risk of the standard society, that the speed was too fast, and the standard society was not able to participate. And because was not able to participate, now there is no room also to participate to this economy. Okay? And this economy is incredible, huge. And there is a space for everyone. Okay, remember all this data. But we need to decide right now if we want to participate or not. Because in 6 months, 1 year, will be too late. And in the moment that it's too late, okay, there will be no any more room. But right now, there is room, there is opportunity. And I think that we need to try to fight to have our, let's say, piece of this new economy. Because if we are not starting now, okay, really, in a few time, will be impossible. But this is, let's say, because I'm an optimistic, I think that the future, okay, will be the NANDA future. And for this reason that I'm working with them almost every day. Thank you very much. And if you have a question, I'm open to answer a question and stay in contact with you. Thank you.